Can you dig it, Bears fans?
I can dig it. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Windy City Digits. That's Vic. I'm
Yeah.
Carl. A little bit different for a Bears Monday for us. A lot to talk about, but mainly the big news of the day today. Yeah, the big news of today was the fact that Ryan Poles finally pulled the trigger and traded Roquan Smith to the Philadelphia Eagles for 2 draft picks, a second round and a 5th round pick. So you were the one who let me know the of the trade right away. So what was your initial reaction?
I was excited, actually.
Really?
I was excited to see what they got from the trade, and that came across the wire very shortly after he was traded. I was pleasantly surprised that they got a 2 and a 5, and then later on we heard another guy, A.J. Klein, was thrown in with the trade too. He's not meaningful, but 2 and 5 for a guy that you probably weren't going to sign. I dig it.
Yeah, I think it was. I think you got a lot of value, and it's actually kind of fitting that you're wearing Philadelphia green and I'm wearing Bears blue. It's kind of fitting. Nice job there, Stretch, for
Yeah, no problem,
dressing
man.
for the occasion. Look, considering for Robert Quinn, you got a 4th round pick, and then for Roquan Smith, you got a 2nd and a 5th round pick. I think you got a ton of value out of that.
Oh, so yeah, Jay Glazer's the one that reported it right away. I was listening to it, I think on the score when it came across the wire.
Yeah, well, I was at work, so you're the one who told me about it. But yeah, I think 2nd round and 5th round, because look, it didn't sound like I don't know, it could have been 50-50 if we were going to re-sign him or not, right? I mean, it could have gone either way. Do you think Ryan Poles pulled the trigger because he got so much value back out of trading Roquan, getting a 2nd and 5th round pick?
Wait, say it again. Do I think he got value?
Do you think that if it like, do you think like maybe he wasn't really thinking about trading him, but the offer was so good and getting a 2nd and 5th round pick? Do you think that's why he pulled the trigger? Or do you think he was going to trade him no matter what?
No, I don't think he was going to trade him no matter what. So, to your initial question, yes, I think it's because of the package he was provided. Because I mean, Robert Quinn, he only got a 5th rounder, one guy, that was it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is 2 picks and a guy to fill in the time being.
Yeah. So you and I, and after we looked at it, as we always do, we kind of checked out Twitter really quick. There was a ton of reaction out on Twitter, but I'm going to kind of let you take it from here and let you kind of pull up what you found on Twitter today.
Well, actually, if we just look at this report here, you could see some of the. These are just the initial reports from people, but this I thought before we go there, the Bears are still paying 4.8 million of his 5.4 salary for this season. They're on the boat for a lot of salaries this year for people who aren't going to be playing with them.
Doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter because next year it's going to look really good.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you know a little bit about A.J. Klein, by the way?
I know nothing about A.J. Klein.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about A.J. Klein. We're going to pull up his information because I honestly don't think if the guy plays a little bit, great, but I don't. I think he's a 9-year vet. Let's pull his biography up. He came from Iowa State. He was a 5th round pick, pick 148. He started off. Let's see if I've got his stats here. Here's his stats overall. He started off with Carolina. You can see he's played in most of the games for every team he's played for. He has 15 sacks his career. But he's just actually one time I think he was on the practice squad. I think it was for the Giants for part of the season, and then that's how Baltimore picked him up. I mean, he's serviceable. He was a defensive player of the year, I think, for Iowa State, from what I remember seeing. I'm not so sure how much he's going to play.
Yeah, to me, it doesn't really. I mean, if he makes an impact, great. But really, the more of the story was the fact that the big part of it is that we got a 2nd and 5th round pick.
All right, so you wanted to see exactly what Bears fans were saying about the trade, right?
Yeah, we just thought, you found some things on Twitter.
Well, actually, we posted a question on Twitter.
We did.
Sensei. Thank you, Sensei. You came up with the question.
So the question was, what do you think of the Roquan trade, good or bad? A tongue tied. Yep. And so let's look at some of these responses that we had here.
You can read them. Can you read them?
Yeah, Big Tom here. Small? I don't know. It wasn't enough after the Eagles trade. It was obvious it was a throwaway season. I hope Justin Fields develops well and doesn't get killed. That's what's important now. Steve here says bad, not enough draft picks. I don't know about that. I mean, you're lucky to get 1 draft pick. The fact you got 2.
You got 2 and another dude.
Yeah, 2nd and a 5th. I don't know what more you're gonna.
Yeah, I agree. And for a guy you were going to not have next season, so they're getting 2 college kids, or some draft picks to play around and maybe move up in the draft. Maybe get a top defensive tackle. Who knows? But they have a lot of options, and we're gonna get to the draft picks too before we leave.
Yeah,
this one here. Read this one.
Doesn't matter. Team morale has went. It will take another 5 years to recover. This is putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. What do you think of that?
I don't agree with that at all. I
don't agree with that either.
Yeah, I had worries early in the year when Roquan was putting himself before the team. I thought the team was going to react poorly to it. You didn't. You were right. He came back. All these guys have a lot to prove. I mean, there's a lot of young guys. There's guys on here that have not started. They're going to try and prove that they belong in the NFL. So I don't buy that.
Look, the only reason I don't buy it, really, honestly, is the fact that, watching some of the ESPN and Fox and some of these other people, right? I mean, Colin Cowherd, Mike Greenberg on his show, Rex Ryan, a lot of these pundits are all saying that, look, Justin Fields is proving that he's the guy.
The last month, yes.
Yeah, with no talent around him, and it's a makeshift line, right? And receivers that are doing their best with what talent they have, right? And we're still putting up 28, 29, 30 points. Nagy couldn't do it with all that offensive talent around him and an offensive line. He could barely score 17 points a game. Rodgers is barely scoring 15 points a game right now. Las Vegas got shut out yesterday. They've got David Carr and Devontae Adams, right?
Yep.
So if you see Justin Fields is such a promising young talent and the team sees it and everybody sees it, why wouldn't you want to be on this team or a part of this team? Right?
I don't know. I think there's going to be some free agents that want to come to Chicago with some of the moves that they're making and the money that they're stacking up. So, hey, your buddy Carl.
Yeah, Sports Only 177. I like the Twitter handle there. Stole mine probably. That's why I can't get it, but
a good move in my opinion.
Yep.
I love Roquan, but I hope it turns out to be good for both teams, which I think it will. I think he's going to a very defensive-minded team. He'll enjoy it there. I think Monty will be next. Let's not get into that right now.
Okay.
I like it. We get 2 picks and a player for him. He wants game-changing money, but he's not a game-changing player. What do you think about that?
I would agree with that.
I would too, man.
Yesterday's game proved that. Yeah, the game against Dallas proved that.
Scanner Brain, it had to be done. Start the rebuild with cap-friendly players and develop new stars.
Yep.
This one, I felt we should have gotten at least a first-round pick, but I'm not mad at it.
I don't know. Do you have a graphic up, or do you see the list of how many first round, how many picks we have for next year?
I've got it after we go through this real
Okay.
quick.
Okay.
Indifferent. I would have loved him to stay. It's business, cleaning house.
So
All right.
here's the other question I want to ask you. Do you think there's a possibility if no one offers him the money that he wants, and we come back, Pulse comes back, and we end up being the highest bid, not 20 million, right? But let's say we offer him 14, 15 million a year, right? Do you think he comes back?
No.
Okay. Even if we're the highest bidder?
Well, you know what? Actually, I think let's say this. Let's see what he says in Baltimore in any of his conferences about going to Baltimore and what he says about the Bears. I think that'll be a good indication. And also, I think it depends on his success with Baltimore and how he feels welcome there. He may be like invigorated by going to a new place, and I don't see him coming back.
But don't you think that the biggest thing with him is that he feels like he is the best linebacker at his position, right? And he feels like he should be paid as such, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know any team that's I don't know unless and no one's got the cap money that we do, right?
Nope.
No one's going to sign him for 20 million.
No, nobody is. I think he gambled on himself on this market and his position, and I don't think he's going to win.
Yeah. So
go ahead. Look at the picks.
Yeah. So this gives us what 9 picks next year, right? We finally have a first round pick after Ryan Pace screwed us for a while there, right? First round, 2 second round picks, a third, 2 fourth, 2 fifths, and a 7th. Right? That's a ton of picks.
That is like exciting, man.
And you have the cap space for free agency. And we've talked about it. It's not a great free agency class by any means. But I think collecting all those picks does give you some trade capital, don't you think?
Oh God, yeah. It gives you a lot of leverage. Leverage to, I mean, like if there's a opportunity to get somebody like a decent receiver, they may be able to put a trade package together too if they're going to get like a top receiver. I don't see them doing that necessarily. I think they're going to draft heavily and they're going to use their cap space for free agents for the offensive side. I see more of the defensive side being a priority in the draft, and then they're going to try and fill it in with offensive players with their cap space.
So, I think someone else, do you have anything else to bring up there?
Yes, okay. I do, buddy. I am going to show you, okay, right there. The Bears are projected to have around 121.7 million cap space. Aggressive in free agency if they choose to go that route. And then these were just some, here's some, you were talking about what other people were saying. NBC is Finlay maximizing their assets. Bears cashing in on Roquan Smith is smart given where they are in this rebuild. Bears have done a great job getting assets back for their guys.
Hang on to that. I think that guy was on a good point there. Sucks to lose Roquan.
Sorry.
Sucks to lose Roquan, but it was clear that they didn't want to pay him. Ravens did get better at the cost of tomorrow. Yeah, I think that's actually right too, right? The Ravens basically gave up. I know someone thinks that they didn't give up enough, but they did give up a lot. I mean, to give up 2 draft picks next year is a lot. I mean, most people would spread it out over a couple of years, right? And look, we were the other end of that, right? With Ryan Pace. Ryan Pace kept giving away draft picks for like Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn and some of these other players, and it hurt us, right?
It hurt us big time, man.
Yeah, so the Ravens are going all in right now for this year. And so with the Eagles, right, to get these guys, but the Ravens really gave up a lot, I think, to get Roquan for basically rent a player, right?
Yeah, and I think the Bears in the past were not smart about letting go of players like Poles is doing and getting draft picks when they knew they were going to try and sign them.
Yeah.
So my question to you right now: who's next?
Well, isn't the trade deadline today?
It's tomorrow.
Um, look, we've already got a ton of draft picks, right? I don't think. Look, if it's going to be anyone, it's probably going to be Montgomery, but I think it's got to be like a similar type deal, right? Where we're getting multiple picks.
There's your man.
Right. I think it's got to be a thing where you're going to get, even if you get like a fourth and a fifth, or, you know, a 2 and a 5, you know, or a 2 and a 4, you know, 2 and a 6, something like that. I don't think you're going to give him up unless you get something. Cause I think Montgomery is someone that you could, you know, you have the cap money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Montgomery is someone you could easily re-sign next year. And running backs, look, it's not as valued a commodity anymore. You don't see any really high paid running backs anymore.
That is because they can find them rather easily now.
Right. Now, look, the guys we have, I think, can pick up the load per se. But I think David Montgomery, I think it's going to be a thing where it'll be whatever we get as far as value. I don't think you're going to trade him just for the sake of trading him. Like, I don't think we're going to trade him for anything less than a 4, in my opinion. I don't think you're going to trade for anything less than that.
Okay, I could see them doing a 4. He is a free agent next year, and you can see right here from Clay Harbor via the Bears blog that Khalil Herbert has 564 yards compared to 361 for Montgomery. Although I think Khalil Herbert is their featured back.
Right now, I think he is. I think he's the kind of guy that he's proven that when Montgomery is out, he can kind of carry the load. And Travis Ebner, I think, has a lot of potential, right? He just needs snaps. He just needs playing time.
Correct. He looked good in the offseason, and the preseason, I should say, too. But the Rams are looking for a running back.
Yes, they are.
And I believe they've reached out to look at, I want to say, was it Nakeem Hines?
Okay.
And that was leading people to believe that Montgomery, I mean, if they're looking for him, why wouldn't they be reaching out to the Bears for David Montgomery?
Yeah, I know they were trying to get rid of Cam Akers. There were no takers for Cam Akers on a trade. And I think Cam's going to report back to the Rams. But
any other Bears out there? What about Tevin Jenkins? Tevin Jenkins' name came up, and so did Bojack.
I don't think you trade Tevin Jenkins. I think he's kind of proven that he's a piece you can build around.
Absolutely. It started off rough, but I really hope they've liked what they've seen from him. I mean, he's been playing a ton of snaps. He's a good run blocker.
Yeah.
But a lot of their players are good run blockers, it seems like. But Tevin Jenkins is a good piece. He's young. He's talented.
The reality is 3/5 of that starting lineup you really kind of have in place, right? I mean, with Braxton Jones, Lucas Patrick, and Tevin Jenkins, you really have three parts of a good line to build around. Cody Whitehair is a guy also that, you know, could conceivably fill in there.
He could be.
What you're really looking for now is depth, because Larry Borom got hurt. Riley Reif played in yesterday. He did an admirable job. Like, he did okay yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
He didn't get called for any holding penalties. He didn't look to get beat too badly on any plays. It didn't like they were calling his name at all yesterday in the broadcast. So, you know, I just think Tevin Jenkins is one of those guys you build around.
And I don't like getting rid of Bojack. I think he helps in the development of Brisker and Gordon. And I think he's under contract too. So I don't know why you would deal him. He's having a really good year too.
Again, I think it would have to be a deal where you would be basically getting like a couple number ones, and no one's going to give up a couple number ones. I don't think, unless they are literally like, it's someone like a Buffalo Bills, where they know they can make it to the Super Bowl this year.
Quarterbacks don't grow on trees, man. That's not an easy position, I think, to fill.
He's a safety, by the way.
No, I'm sorry.
But yeah, look, I just think that you're right. He's one of those guys that you need to keep some kind of veteran leadership around. It's Lucas Patrick on the offensive side, and I think it's Bojack on the defensive side.
Busy day, buddy.
Yeah. So we'd love to hear what you guys think about the Roquan trade. Either hit us up on Twitter, make your comments there, make your comments here below on the page below. We'd love to hear what you think. We do appreciate everyone's been tuning in, watching us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We will see you guys in the next video, which I think is Wednesday.
Bear down.
Wednesday. So bear down. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Love.
And digits.